Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, founder of Herbal 411. Today's topic is about resting metabolic rate, RMR. And I'm bringing it up because a lot of my patients, I should say, most of my patients that are 40 to 60 years of age, and that's the sweet spot of the age groups I see, are getting to the point where the diseases that were quiet before, meaning silent, no symptoms, are now becoming loud. And it's early. I think a lot of people will have, say, headaches, fatigue, impotence, vaginal dryness, joint pain, difficulty with snoring, being fatigued or out of breath with activities that they used to tolerate, not being able to hike with me, even in a mile or so. So it's important to know how to get healthy again. The reason I wanted to talk about resting metabolic rate is usually what I'll see with my patients is they say they try their best. They cut down on calories and nothing's happening. No weight loss, no budging of that waistline. And then they'll sprinkle in exercise and still nothing. They'll be stuck. Their belly will still be the same, the visceral fat that you keep here. Visceral fat is a indicator or has a high indication for future ASCVD, atherosclerotic heart disease or cardiovascular disease, meaning heart attack. And the frustration is always going to be evident. That's why people come to see me. Now, I have to tell you, when I was working with my consultations today, one of my female patients had said she drops down as low as she can, 2,000 calories a day, and she still doesn't budge that weight. It's a stuck set point. And set points are where your body always finds its way back to the previous weight. And that usually means that you need a little bit of fine-tuning, strategy to lose weight, add the exercise, make it a lifetime of exercise. You can get some of the crappy things that hurt you out of your armamentarium or your toolbox, and you add in activities that are fun, that resonate with you. I don't expect everybody to take up hiking. I like to have options to show you what to do. And if patients come out to see me on a trail, and by the way, I'll be at Palos Hills or Swallow Cliff Stairs this weekend, Saturday, 7 a.m. It's meeting at the Pavilion. It is now the 11th of November, 2024. So I like hiking, but because of recent issues with work and my clinic, I haven't been able to lead any hikes, but I will be targeting National Park 2025. So anyway, diving below your resting metabolic rate will usually get you to lose weight. The question is, what is your resting metabolic rate? Mine is 1,430 calories. That is what I burn just with sitting and breathing and having my brain function. And that's it. If you've never seen a resting metabolic rate, you have to actually breathe through this tube like this, pinch off your nose. I don't have my pincher that I got from the Live Lean RX guys. And then you just sit there for about 20 minutes. And the machine that you're connected to, it certainly gives you oxygen, but the machine calculates how much oxygen you take in resting quietly in a chair, a recliner, and through an algorithm, it figures out how much you burn with you just sitting in a recliner. That's called resting metabolic rate, because you're resting. That's the basic amount of calorie expenditure that you burn. Now, if you sprinkle exercise on top of that, if you sprinkle a lot of studying on top of that, you'll burn more. And that's the concept. If you burn more than your resting metabolic rate, you should lose weight. If my resting metabolic rate is 1,400 and I eat 2,000, I'm gonna have to do a lot of exercise to hold my weight. I'll have to burn up at least 600 calories every single day if I maintain 2,000. And I think I'll have to save the idea of what does 2,000 look like, but that's why I wanted to bring my old steak, egg, and cheese bagel from McDonald's. This is about 600 and a half, say 700 calories with, what is that thing? A hash brown. So 700 calories of this. And believe it or not, these taste pretty decent. These used to taste pretty. I don't eat this shit anymore. But, you know, I have to tell you, here is the receipt. I probably can't show you the receipt, but this is from 2011, and it is now 2024. Could you believe that? There are a couple questions arise that this is a lot of calories. So if my resting metabolic rate is 700, let's just say 1,400 to make it easy, and this is 700 calories to make it easy. If I have two of these, which I easily could have done like 20 years ago, if I have two of these, I can't have anything else for the rest of the day because I've hit my RMR. Unless I wanted to go train with a marathon or do a 5K or do an hour of exercise. And I don't always have the time for that. So you can see that if you know your resting metabolic rate and you know the value of what an old McDonald's steak, egg, and cheese bagel or what a salad that you eat is equal to, or what a hamburger that you eat is equal to, what a steak that you eat is equal to, a quarter cup of peanuts, quarter cup of lentils, quarter cup of beans. If you know the value of that stuff, and that's probably the easiest thing to do to start this concept out, to learn. Know what you eat, know how much you usually eat, and then look it up online to see, okay, a 10-inch plate of salad with a little bit of dressing is equal to 500 calories. I mean, that's a lot, but I'm just making it easy for you. So if I have three plates, 10 inches of salad, I've already gone above, that's 1,500, I've gone 100 calories above my resting metabolic rate. As long as I burn 100 calories, I won't gain weight. That's the concept. So how do you figure out these things? You can figure out the value, calorie value of your food easily online. And I'm pretty confident with artificial intelligence, you should be able to take a picture of your food and it'll spit out that plate's this size and it's this thick and it has a little bit of dressing, so it'll equal 300 to 500 calories. So artificial intelligence is going to get to that point. There are actually apps like Weight Watchers. If you scan the barcode of something that you eat, it'll tell you if you eat the entire thing, you have just ingested 500 calories. So Weight Watchers is a great app. A patient of mine, he showed it to me because he lost a lot of weight, and I thought that is great. And I like Weight Watchers. They have Weight Watchers centers all over, and I think it's a nice community if you are lost. So you can certainly join communities if you're not sure what to do. If you're on your own and you can't afford those communities and you can't afford a trainer and you don't want to see me as your lifestyle coach, then you have to learn how to do this stuff. I got my RMR calculated at Live Lean RX. I believe it cost me $70 to $90 to sit there for 20 minutes and shoot it. Now, I tried to move my metabolic rate by increasing exercise and eating. I did it for a month, aggressive. I was in a bulking phase and I just wanted to eat a lot and exercise a lot. I did not budge my resting metabolic rate. It was still 1,400, very disappointing. But that's how stubborn my metabolism is. And in some cases, when you deploy, say, a fasting diet or intermittent fasting, since Jason Fung's book, Obesity Code, came out, it's the rage now. So everybody just kind of pushes away breakfast and has the last meal the night before at, say, 8 o'clock. Has their first meal at maybe 12. That's pretty decent. So that would be a 16-hour fast. 12 plus 4 hours, 16 hours. That's pretty decent. And the 16-hour fast, technically it triggers insulin to decrease because you're starving. Technically, you're not really starving, but you're postponing your first meal of the day till the afternoon. And during that prolonged fast, your body starts to say, hey, I'm not getting any calories. Where are we going to get this from? And it'll burn up your glycogen. Everybody has the initial fuel that you use as glycogen. Glycogen is stored in muscle, and it's also stored in liver. And say that your total volume of glycogen is 600 calories or 600 grams of glycogen. Well, by the time you finish your starvation in 24 hours, you've burned up all your glycogen. So what's next? Usually it's for the next 3 days of fasting and not eating anything. It'd be lactic acid and alanine. And lactic acid is a byproduct if you exercise, but that's in another video. And then after 3 days, it gets into fat burning, where you go through beta oxidation. And then you start to liberate those fat stores that are all right here or subcutaneously. And that's the beauty. But not too many people can make it to starve themselves for 5 days or 3+ days. I like the use of the fasting mimicking diet. I've done a couple of videos on Walter Longo's FMD. I think it's fasting in a box, but the data from Walter Longo, fasting if you're on a chemotherapy protocol, specifically for colon cancer, the data was very supportive that the cancer patients going through chemotherapy did better when they had a fasting mimicking diet and the chemotherapy. That definitely gives teeth to fasting. And it also gives teeth to fasting, but not starving. If you fast and you have one of those FMD boxes, it's a 5-day big box, and you pull out day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and you can follow along. It's kind of novel because each box has a little bit of ketones, a little bit of soup, a lot of soup, that's usually all of it, and maybe a bar or two that you eat over a certain amount of hours. So it's kind of nice you follow the instructions and you have something to do versus water-only fasting. Those of you who have tried water-only fasting, God bless you. I can't do that because there's too many distractions and I get super hungry and then everybody else is eating. I smell food. It's just really hard and it sucks. I think that the FMD is a nice way to drop your calories. So getting back to the resting metabolic rate, if you know your RMR, and you don't have to do this, you can use the Harris-Benedict equation. You can calculate it. So search Harris-Benedict equation, and I think a couple of websites, they allow you, instead of this long formula, you can just plug your numbers in, and you'll get your resting metabolic rate. I used the Harris-Benedict equation when I did my RMR through the machines at LiveLeanRx, and it was about the same. In some cases, well, I should say in many cases, most humans will usually be around 1,500 calories per day if you're just resting. I think that's what most people exist as. Now, if you have a lot of muscle and you're an athlete, that doesn't count. You're not the average human, but you'll probably have a higher RMR. So when you have a higher RMR, you can eat more and not gain weight because you have muscle. And that's the basic premise of why I tell people they should be doing resistance exercise. Legs and cardio and cycling and running and maybe a rowing machine, that's all great. But in all of those exercises, when they're deployed by your average Joe and Jane at 40 to 60 years of age, we don't get big. I mean, you can get tone and you'll have a really good heart rate and a low blood pressure, but it doesn't translate to useful muscle that will allow you to take in more calories per day. And it takes a lot of time to develop muscle. So the problem is people give up after dieting for 2 weeks and not getting anywhere. It's frustrating. People also give up after lifting weights on their own at Planet Fitness and nothing's happening. And you have to be patient because I've been exercising since I was 18 years of age. 1982 is when I took 2 bodybuilding titles. And it's now, I'm 62 this year. And so it's taken me this long to kind of fine tune my exercise routine. I still do it. I'm not as big as when I was 18 years of age or 19 years of age, but I can still bring on muscle pump because of the knowledge of going through aging and knowing what exercises to deploy. getting a little far out, but bottom line is that if you are frustrated with not losing weight and you're starving yourself, please get a coach or please ask around. If you have medical conditions, it makes it a little more complicated. That's when I would say, don't just stop your medicines. Don't just stop your thyroid medicine. Don't just stop your blood pressure medicine because it makes you hungry, or your mood medicines because they're making you gain weight, which they do. Just continue what you're doing and maybe get a physician. I'm always available no matter where you are in the world. I'm available virtually, and you can use me as a consulting service. I'll put my link for how to find me and how to sign up to be a member of my practice. Then you can consult me for how to fine tune your life. But it always takes a community, and you have to learn this stuff. I have no problems with teaching. In fact, the root word in Latin of doctor means teach, to teach. Unfortunately, with the current paradigm of Western medicine and insurance-based medicine, who has time to teach in 15 minutes? And that's usually the turnover for most primary care, actually all doctors, primary care, specialty services. That's why you go to your doctor and it seems like they're in a hurry because they have to break even. And breaking even usually means you have to have speed work. And when you have speed work, the doctor listens to your symptoms, and the nurse practitioner listens to your symptoms, and immediately we go with highest possibility using the algorithm of what can this patient have? And usually it's a shortcut. We give you medicines, you get better. I mean, that's with a cough, cold, sprain, strain. But I think people are more complicated than that. And that's why I think you do need time. And that's why I give time. But that's also why I have a membership-based practice, because this is not a lucrative thing, but I love guiding people and seeing patients change their lives. You see a fork in the road where they go get better, and then you see that their family members also watch the patient's lifestyle and they get better. So you see a generational change down the line versus continuing with Band-Aid therapy. And well, you probably will stop the suffering for a short amount of time, but if you do nothing for the root cause, another problem will, it's like putting your finger in the dike. You'll stop that leak, but then another, because you haven't relieved the pressure, another hole in the leak will occur. So hopefully you understand that figuring out your resting metabolic rate and knowing what your base is, and then maybe diving. I would figure out your resting metabolic rate, whether you do it with Live Lean RX or you do it with the Harris-Benedict equation, as long as you're kind of a normal human. And then you drop down, say, 300 calories below your RMR. If you can sustain that, you won't starve, but you will have to change around your volume, maybe spread it out or do it in an intermittent fasting kind of way, but you drop below, and theoretically, you should be able to lose weight. If you can't lose weight, yes, it might be the medications. It might be you're too stressed out and cortisol is maximizing. It's always good to have cortisol. That's a hormone, and it's a hormone that comes from the adrenals. It turns on in the morning and then tapers down in the evening. But if you're all stressed out and you don't do any calming practice, it's firing all day. And when you have high cortisols all day, you'll have low testosterone, low estrogen, you'll have low progesterone, and that screws up everything. Your body will be in fight or flight. It will want to keep everything, assuming that you're not going to have another chance to live, and then it'll be making you gain weight. So you can see it's complicated, but if you just take the 30,000 foot view and you wanted to figure out what your target is and you wanted to hold that target, Harris-Benedict equation or Live Lean RX in Warrenville. I think they have a place in Chicago too. And do the program, figure out your RMR, and then figure out what you usually eat and what it equals. Tally up what your 24 hours of grazing or your 3 meals a day equals, and that'll be, if you're above your RMR, bring it down. If you're below your RMR, something else is going on, something else that's making you hold on to weight. So hopefully this gives you a couple of ideas of direction on how to move this weight that's stuck of yours and get past your set point. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section down below. Please consider subscribing to me on YouTube. And I love my subscribers. I love my patients. That's the reason I'm trying to stay healthy and exercising and hiking and trying to watch my weight, is because I do want to be a model for what you guys are supposed to do, but I also want to be a centenarian. So I got 40 years to go. Hopefully this is helpful. Share this with other people who are kind of lost. And if you don't subscribe, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.